Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Is It Worth the Grind video. And today we are looking at the IS-4 Russian Tier 10 heavy tank. So this heavy tank line is regarded with a lot of armor and the guns that are not as good as the guns on the counterparts. Tier 10 kind of changes, but it kind of stays the same. So the IS-4, what is it good at? Is it worth the grind at first? Yes, it is. You have to just be in the mindset that it's going to be a slow tank with lots of armor and the gun that is not very good, but it's still alright. So let's look at the armor first. Upper plate 140, very well sloped. Lower plate 160, side armor 160. So the hull is one of the better ones in the game. Angles are not that good. As you can see, 230, 240. If you look at it straight on, and lower plate 208, 210, and the thing is you can angle it. Obviously you can get really good results angling it, 250, 260, 230, but the thing is, if you're getting shot by a tier 10 and you're not side scraping, they always have a chance to pen you. Like, it's either the lower plate or this shoulder plate. You can't see it really well, but this shoulder plate, if you angle too much, is gonna be a weak spot. And we can see that most of the time you engage IS-4s in kind of like at this altitude, so 230 or 350, 250. It's really hard to get this. If you're not sidescaping, it's really hard to get the IS-4's armor above the 260 mark that most tier 10 guns have the penetration for. It's really hard to get the IS-4 above that. The cupola, driver's hatch, whatever, 200 armor, but it's rather flat. So if you have a chance to shoot, well, if you have a chance to shoot the flat upper part, you might as well shoot it anywhere. It doesn't really matter. The armor on this is the same as the armor on anywhere else on the upper plate. So if you face an unangled IS-4, you can shoot it right in the front of the hull. In the lower plate, it doesn't really matter. The penetration chance is the same. For the turret, it is probably one of the better turrets in the game. It's not the best because IS-7 takes that away from the IS-4. And if you look at the front, there's a ricochet zone, there's 500, 260, 400, and they didn't have enough Stalin, so gun mantlet just around the gun is 250. So if you have a tier 10 tank destroyer, you cannot see anything but the gun mantlet. Just try to shoot right next to the gun and you might be able to penetrate. But as you see, it depends on the angle. Sometimes it's 312. It's weird. So, but the thing happens where you can just shoot it just around the gun and pen and hope to pen. Other weak spots on the turret, if you're not using your gun depression that you don't first of all have a lot of, I'll give you the precise numbers when we're in the game, but if you're not using this gun depression, if you're below your enemies and aiming up, like for instance on the German tank, it can just rape you here. This plate is 30 millimeters. It's kind of like on the IS-3, which means that even a 19mm gun, even a gun on a tier 8 medium tank will be able to penetrate this part here with an auto pen. It doesn't even have to, it doesn't even matter the angle. If you can hit this, you can pen it, no matter what gun you are. Let's see if the 88, probably the 88 won't be able to pen it. This 87.6, I presume that's the, yeah, this is ricochet. So a Panther 2 cannot penetrate. Every Russian tank with 19mm tier 8 can penetrate the IS-4 frontally. If you can see the top of his turret, where's the 19mm gun? So this is the standard Russian gun. You can pen this at any angle whatsoever. So try to hide your roof, try to use your gun depression. If you're like hugging on a city map, if you're hugging some rubble, try to drive up on it so your turret faces upwards and your enemies cannot shoot anything apart from the turret's front, because the roof of the turret is really, really poorly armored. But enough said, the tracks also help. They're spaced armor with 20 armor, but they scale up quite well, so that's something to note. But let's get into the replay. Here we go, playing the new Kamaran. What I noticed playing this map is that if you are in a heavy tank and you don't go middle, you might as well drive in the water, drown and lose the game. Middle seems a crucial spot. They changed it in a way that there's a lot of cover and there's a lot of concealment in the middle, so you can spot people, you can shoot them in the face, and you only get spotted after you fire. Let's get into the IS-4 stats first though. So mobility wise, it gets a pretty poor engine of 750 horsepower, which gives it a pretty poor 12.33 horsepower per ton ratio. Traverse speed 26, also pretty bad. If we compare it to the other Russian heavy tank, the IS-7 is much more mobile, way better horsepower to ton ratio of almost 16, and the top speed of IS-4 is 43 kilometers per hour, but don't get excited, you will only reach that downhill. Same goes with an IS-7, the top speed limit of that is 60 kilometers an hour, but overall the IS-7 is gonna be faster, even though the hidden asshole stats of terrain resistance are better on the IS-4. It still won't. It's not that much better that it would cancel out that power to weight ratio. Gun-wise, this thing gets a slightly it gets a different kind of gun than the IS-7. IS-7 gun is known for being only reliable at point blank, while the IS-4's gun has really high and really good penetration. 440 alpha per shot, 258 penetration, and the damage per minute is quite lackluster on the IS-4. Pimped out IS-4's reload is gonna be around 11 seconds, which is still pretty bad, and well, maybe you can get it down to like 10.5, but it's still the stock value of damage per minute is gonna be 2200, which is like 50 higher than on the IS-7. And if you compare this to something like the Chinese heavy tank, the 113, that thing gets 200 DPM more, and that is kind of a big deal. Hit point wise, the IS-4 gets quite a bit of them, 2500, so it trades pretty well, even with that 440 alpha. It has a lot of health. And if you sidescrape, you can get a lot of bounces as well. Accuracy on the gun, 0.38. Aiming time, 2.9. That's better than on the IS-7, but worse than on the 113. The gun depression, -6 plus 16. Same as on the IS-7. And the 113 obviously falls there behind with only -4 degrees of gun depression. Ammo capacity is quite a pain in this tank, actually. Only 30 rounds, which means that if you have a really a long game, then you might run out of ammo, which is quite a bit of a problem. It's not like the biggest problem in the world though. But yeah, that's everything there is to say about the stats. This game so far chased down the 50B. I know if I put pressure on him, I have just too much health for him to deal with it. And since they changed the map, I took the risk that nobody else would be able to see me, and nobody was able to see me. And for people that say that I always get lucky in my replays and reviews, look at these shots on the IS-8. He's AFK and I cannot pen him. And that kind of reflects, this gun is more accurate than on the IS-7 and so on, but still, fully aimed. No, goes below the IS-8. Maybe I should have aimed more center of his hull, but still. In this game, I had quite a not really bad RNG, but there was a lot of shots that could have hit and done damage, so I'm pretty sure I could have done at least 2,000 more damage in this game, but still, the game turned out pretty well for me. And again, shots goes completely nowhere. And here is what I was saying at the start of the game. I have this position, it's hull down, even though I'm giving a good shot to these guys because I'm not playing very well. I can spot everyone and I can shoot everybody from the middle while having a reasonably good hull down position and a reasonably easy retreat path. So this position is super strong now. After they changed this map, middle is crucial on this map. And you can see my RNG in this game is not the best again. Where did that even go? I guess I should have waited a bit more for the servo reticle to kick in as well, but still, not getting lucky in this game at all. And here you can see these bushes and the concealment I was talking about. You can drive up this hill, you cannot get spotted until you fire, and this is a really good position to take. If you don't take the middle, I'm pretty sure you lose. These guys cannot do shit against me. I got spotted there when they on 3 turned this third, but then again I wasn't taking the best spot available there. I'm gonna adjust my position in a fair bit and take a better one. But yeah, if we compare the IS-7 to the IS-4, IS-7 is better assault. It's point blank, no messing around. This tank is better at defense, shooting long range. This tank, when it's side scraping at long range, it's indestructible. You can't do shit to this tank when you're at 200, 300 meters and this is side scraping against you. You can't do anything. But IS-7's gun is not reliable enough to hit those shots at 300 meters, so you're kind of making yourself and your enemy useless, which is not the best thing to do, obviously, if you want to have good games. And again, going for the IS-8 and again, bounce. So lucky, such a lucky guy I am. Probably hit his gun mantlet or something, but not getting lucky at all. People say, oh, you don't aim for shit. Well, I'm taking my chances, and this game my chances didn't really go for me at all. But as you can see, this position is super strong. I only get spotted once I drive up on the hill. I only can get shot at once I'm spotted. So they made the middle way more important on this map. Taking the middle is the key part of winning this game on this map. And if you're in a medium tank and you face off against something like an IS-4 in the middle, I can only wish you good luck, because middle is crucial, and when you are not in the tank that can easily take it, then you will have issues winning this map, is what I found out about it. Equipment I use on the IS-4 is rammer, word stabs, and coded optics. Always nice to have that view range, and on this game I believe my coded optics gave me the ace. So it's always nice to have them whenever you get into an open map. And cruise skill wise, obviously repairs, 6 signs, don't bother with camo, smooth right snapshot, clutch braking, all the stuff that improves the accuracy and mobility is always really good. One of the most asked questions in this game is IS-4 or IS-7. There's no answer to that question like, this is better, IS-4 is so good. The difference between the tanks is that IS-7 has a better frontal plate. It is better to be in your enemy's face. The gun is better at close range. It does more damage. The IS-7 is really good assault. It is probably the best heavy tank to assault with compared to any other tank. At medium ranges and long ranges, the IS-7 the gun is gonna fail you more often than not. IS-4, however, is better at medium ranges, at the long ranges, especially the armor scales on the IS-4 scales up really good at medium ranges, and the chances that your enemies will hit your weak spots in the IS-4 at medium ranges are quite low. So that is your choice. It's either medium range or short range. If you like assaulting, if you like to be super aggressive, IS-7 is the tank for you. If you like to be more defensive, if you like to tactical play with quite a bit of medium to long range engagements, then probably you're going to be better off with an IS-4. Grind-wise, the IS-4 line, I would say slightly worse than the IS-7 line, just because there's some really good tanks in the mid-tiers, like 6, 7, 8 is really good at in the IS-7 line, while the IS-4 line starts to really shine at tier 9. KV-4 is also pretty good, even while the KV-3 is quite lackluster and doesn't really feel very powerful compared to the IS or the KV-1S or whatnot. But overall, the line is pretty good. Stock tanks, however, KV-4 stock is pretty bad. STI stock is pretty bad. IS-4 you can play stock, and again, really unlucky shot, should have done damage there. If you're grinding for clan wars, as far as I know, IS-4 is almost never used. IS-7 used way more often. It has the speed, it has the alpha damage, it has the turret armor. IS-4 is just too slow for most part, but if you're defending like a worthless land, you probably get into clan wars with an IS-4 as well. Most clans I have seen and faced do not use IS-4s, and we don't either. So that is something to note. If you grind for clan wars, do not use don't go get the IS-4. However, in randoms, this tank is pretty good. It has a really nice trade potential with 2,500 health and really good side armor. Sometimes you can side scrape like 5-6k damage with not that much issues. Sometimes you get overwhelmed. You can't really play too aggressive. You have quite a lot of flat plates on your armor, so facing tanks with high penetration like another IS-4 will more or less always result in just neutral penetrations. If you're not side scraping, that is. If you can hide your front plate, you're in for a good ride, and if you're not showing the top of your turret to your enemies, you're also in for a good ride. So last 3 enemies left. I'm just trying to be rather cautious to not get fucked up by the Jagdpanzer while approaching this. I need that health to trade later, and spotting the arty would be really crucial for our team now. If you look at the IS-4 and compare it to all the other tier 10 heavy tanks, it kind of falls into a jack of all trades branch, but it has more armor and shittier gun. It's not like it does one thing super good apart from side scraping, but most of the time you can't just sit somewhere and side scrape and hope that the enemies will come at you. Some games it happens, and when it happens it's really nice, but you can't rely on that to happen every game. So what I would say, it's kind of a slower version on the E5 with no obvious weak spots and way worse gun. But the IS-4 is good at what it does. It sidescrapes really well. It has a lot of hit points to trade with, and usually you can get pretty good games with an IS-4. Here then, there's a Jagdpanzer and the Arty left. I know if I shoot the Arty, I'm gonna take a shot in the face from the Jagdpanzer, but my health pool allows me to do that. Only Arty can fuck me up in this game, really. Jagdpanzer is gonna come here and shoot me. I probably should have loaded heat right away, but as it turned out, I didn't really need the heat when I loaded it. So Jagdpanzer shoots me in the face, he shoots me in the turret, which isn't, like he didn't aim. He should have just took his time here and aimed properly, because I cannot pen that fucking superstructure anyways. I can't see his weak spot. I'm gonna try to shoot as flat part as I can find on that tank. If I rolled really high, I could have maybe done it. Now he's putting the distance between myself and him. I'm completely fine with that. I still have enough health to take the shot, and I didn't really need the siege round. And Arty helps me out, so there we go, GG. Didn't do that much damage, but I think my spotting is what gave me the ace here. Serious then plate, ace tanker. 1780 experience, so it's just an ace tanker, but I picked this replay just because it was showcasing of the new Kamaran. What do I think of the new Kamaran? I think it's better than the old one. I think the middle is so important in this map that I probably would go there in any tank, apart from maybe like a Leopard or something that has absolutely no armor and no place in the middle. But it's still better than it used to be. Another thing to mention about the IS-4 is scales up really well when you're like the only tier 10 in on a city map or something like that. It just stomps everything you face, really. You have inexperienced tier 8 players gonna be completely worthless against you, and some tier 9s can be really dangerous with their high pen guns, but even though still you have more health, you have more DPM, and you can just shoot through them if you're side scraping, then they can't really hurt you too much. So that is something to note. But overall, IS-4 is worth the grind just because it's a solid tier 10, it's a solid line. There's nothing really wrong with the line or the tier 10. As you can see, 4286 spotting damage, which gave me the ace, so coated optics on heavy tanks, totally recommended. But yeah, IS-4, a solid tier 10, solid line. Nothing bad really to say about any of the tanks apart from the speed and the KV3, which is kind of shit. But I hope you enjoyed this review, and I will see you on the next one.